Dear audience, welcome back to the first worldwide tuk-tuk tournament, happening and organized through Gauntlet 2018. Tuk-tuks are three-wheeled vehicles, famous in various parts of the world for being fast and small enough that they can pass through where other cars just are left back. Also, tuk-tukeros, as they are called here in Central America, they make a lot of effort with decorating their tuk-tuks, letting them look like real racing cars, sometimes with sound system, with illumination. I'm not that good in street racing terminology, especially not in English, so I can't tell you exactly what they all put on there, but they have it all, really all. So here we are. And the first thing we need to learn is who we are racing with today and where we are racing. Second question already has an answer. We are in Newcastle, Australia. This is a special circuit for us because we have been already twice in North America. We have been in Houston and we have been in Miami. We were already twice in Europe, in Venice and in Prague. And now we are circulating around the places where tuk-tuks are really popular in the world. Now we are in the south, in Australia. The other question is something we need to answer together. That is, who is racing with us today? And for that, we have a play mat. And you need to have a look now at your play mat and create a tuk-tukero or a tuk-tukera. And I will share my screen so we can have a look together with the audience. Who is with us? Okay. So we have one returning tuk-tukero here. And so why doesn't he make a start introducing himself? Greg, who are you playing?
I will be playing El Corazon. El Corazon is a retired matador who beneath his tuk-tuk seat has a sword. And beneath his breast beats the Corazon.
Thank you. Andrew, who are you bringing?
I'm bringing the Red Ranger, who is so confident and so able to win this race that he once won a race while napping in the driver's seat.
A good sleep, yeah. That's what everybody is talking about at GauntletCon. Lou, who are you bringing?
I am bringing Moon Thief. He is famous for tagging everything as he races. It's more about putting his name on everything as he races than actually winning the race, but naturally he will also win. And there's a rumor that he once stole the moon.
And I haven't seen it since then, yeah. Pat, who are you bringing?
I am bringing Crazed Swords. El Corazon thinks he has a sword, but he does not have the Crazed Swords. That's right. And I will take a tuk-tuk anywhere. You ever seen a tuk-tuk skip across water like a stone?
I have seen a tuk-tuk on a construction crane. Like, that actually happened on the last race.
So, I need to tell you something. Bad news. Somebody took over the racing circuit. You're not racing anymore for fun. This is getting serious now. I am the killer of all. And the killer of all will tell you who won't make it to the finishing line tonight will be on my list, and I will strike you off one by one. Go fast, little tuk-tukeros. Go fast. Next, what we need to learn is how you all prepare for the race. This can be a flashback. This can be a story from your youth. This can be just what happened yesterday night and why you still have a headache. This can be what you have prepared in Newcastle to make this your race. This could also be just a sad story while you're at the front line and sitting there and want to do something completely else than tuk-tuk racing. Who knows? You will tell us. So, El Corazon, how do you prepare for the race?
El Corazon has found the finest steakhouse in all of Newcastle. And there he dines upon 4 porterhouse steaks, all cooked rare. And he drinks 3 bottles of wine and sings great songs.
Red Ranger, how do you prepare?
I've been making laps around Newcastle tens, hundreds of times, every single minute for hours upon hours until I know all these streets as if I was dreaming.
Moon Thief, how do you prepare?
Moon Thief is, as the camera fades in, we see him in a cave down by the ocean. He's sitting there. He's wearing a mask. And he's looking into a puddle, a small pond in the cave, and we can see the reflection of the moon in the small pond. And he's gently singing to the moon in the puddle. And as he sings, the camera moves out of the cave and flies along the coastline. We hear a crow call, caw, caw, caw.
Raised swords, how do you prepare?
Crazed Swords quietly moves through Newcastle in the mornings when the sun is still just peeking above the horizon and begins to clang his swords together until people flow out onto the streets and wonder what is that racket. And Crazed Swords whips them into a frenzy. When I say crazed, you say swords. And I bring thousands and thousands out into the streets because I feed on their energy.
Let's see how well that goes. You all pick 2d6 because we all are traumatized by too many PBTA games at the Gauntlet. It's 2d6, 10 plus means a full success, 7 to 9 partial success. That means something minor goes wrong, and 6 minus is a disaster in your preparation. So we go another round after you roll dice and you know what your result is. On a full success, you get 2 flow. That's a good start into the race. 7 to 9, 1 flow, 0 flow for those who fail. So pick your dice, roll. And we start with our dear El Corazon again to see how his preparation actually turned out when we are at the starting line. We're now at the starting line and see the result of the preparation.
El Corazon is very disturbed. His stomach is disturbed because at the very last moment he realized, wait, those are vegan steaks. It was all a lie. It was all a lie. They were made of seitan or some sort of processed rice product. Oh, they were not the steaks I need to prepare.
That didn't go well, right? That was a failure. Oh no, that means you start with 0 flow. But Red Ranger, I hope it went better for you.
Well, Things went pretty well, but unfortunately, I overslept and didn't get in all of the practice that I needed to. I'm coming to the race straight out of bed.
Oh no. Finally overslept. Moon Thief. Do you already know how it was going for you?
Yes, I've apparently my my singing to the moon that I stole wasn't as an effective way to prepare for a tuk-tuk race as I thought it would be. I think having stayed up all night singing myself hoarse, I'm not particularly well prepared.
Particularly not, I would even say. Finally, Crazed Swords.
Yes, I whipped the crowd into a frenzy. But apparently, these strange people came with cars with flashing lights and told me I couldn't do that anymore. And I do not know why.
So we have two mixed results here. Those with a mixed result move their little tuk-tuk on our screen into the next slot. So from 0 to 1. You cross the starting line. You are a little bit ahead maybe just better prepared. Maybe you let others pass, but for the reason that you know that you still have some nitro or anything extra. You have one flow, which is a good thing. Especially good is that you both have the same flow, because if one person alone is in the lead, they take a penalty on the rolls, a -2 on the upcoming rolls, and a -2 on only 1d6. So it's really not funny to be alone in the lead. But then again, you have a lot of flow. So we start with Greg telling us our first obstacle in a way. Our tuk-tuks are now in Newcastle on the road. They're all letting rubber go onto the road. So do you have a link for me to share?
All right, let's get over here, right there. Ooh. All right, second.
There is the link, yes. And I will share that screen now.
Do a 180.
Okay. So, where are we?
Yeah, it's return to the right a little bit, because a terrible thing has happened. Out of the back of a truck, dozens of trampolines have poured onto the road. and these skateboarding kids who are here have just put up, ever so conveniently, all of these little short ramps. And we must jump from trampoline to trampoline and bounce across the way, for diving between would be certain danger, for a tuk-tuk would surely hit you on the top, and your tuk-tuk would be broken. And I'm going to say, let's see. I will say that Lou, you are championed, as you are closer to the moon and thus probably have more lift. And let's see. Oh, I think the Red Ranger might have some difficulty with this. Perhaps reflexes are slowed, having slept too much.
There we see. Being champion means you roll 1d6 and add 1. Being in trouble means you roll 1d6 minus 1. Those who didn't get a penalty or bonus roll with a flat d6. The higher, the better. If you roll more than 3, you gain 1 flow. If you roll less than 2, you lose 1 flow. So first of all, do the dice rolling. I will also have a look, and then I will pick 2 of you to describe what actually happened to you. And usually I take the one with the highest and the one with the lowest result, but I don't have to do that all. So what we see here is that you're all doing quite well, except for one person, except for one Tuk Hero. The Red Ranger is not doing well. What goes so horribly wrong for you, Red Ranger?
Well, I've been down the street so much I can do it in my sleep, but I never did it with trampolines. So like I take one bounce and I just start spinning through the air and clunk down really hard onto the wheels and just fall to a stop and have to start up again.
Oh no, oh no. And we see that for the Moon Thief it goes equally bad. However, we want to see one who is doing especially well in this situation. And so I say that Crazed Swords is the one. I want to tell us why they are trampoline favorites.
So as I ride down the street, I am followed by crowds of raving fans, and if anybody knows the double jump technique on a trampoline, that's what they do. They jump right before I land, and I'm able to bounce really high.
There we go. We have passed our first obstacle. Next on our list to tell us what kind of obstacle we have to pass is Andrew. Do you have a link for me? So, and while we wait until I share this screen with you, you might already tell us what we see. Or you want to wait for the excitement?
I'll wait for the reveal. There we go. So, the track leads you into that narrow pathway that's guarded by the handlebars there right next to the building. And you have to make a hairpin turn right around that corner without crashing into the railing or losing too much speed.
That sounds doable for a good tuk-tuk hero. By the way, have you updated your flow according to your dice roll? More than 3, gain 1 flow. Do we have one person alone in the lead? They take a -2. Now, Andrew, tell us who is troubled and who is championed.
So I think Crazed Swords is championed because this is just the sort of niche obstacle. You know, he can take a tuk-tuk anywhere, and that means including around a hairpin corner. I think El Matador is still very troubled with his indigestion and can't focus on fine maneuvers such as this, and so is troubled.
Perfect. 1d6, everybody, at your bonus or your penalty. There we go.
Just to clarify, I get a -1, right? -2 for being in the lead, and then +1 for champion.
Exactly. People are good to you. You're in the lead and still championed. It still doesn't look so good for Crazed Swords. And it looks fantastic, maybe because of the sake. For Moon Thief. Moon Thief. Why is this your favorite part in the race?
I think I think it's after sleeping in and getting to his tuk-tuk late at the start of the race after everyone else had taken off. Moon Thief is struggling to catch up. He crests the hill. He's coming down, and as he looks up into the sky, you can see the moon just ever so softly in the sky, and it winks at him right before he's and it actually softly whispers to him, "I believe in you." And then as he takes the tight corner, we see his hand come out, and he spray paints a picture of the moon on the corner as he races around, and it was obviously the moon giving him the blessing that he needed, as it was a boon from the moon.
El Corazon, El Matador. I want to know from you, how did you do?
The Matador is troubled by his stomach, but his hands are steady. And as he approaches the hairpin turn, very quickly he jams his sword into the asphalt, and the whole tuk-tuk rides up upon the wall. And then he quickly pulls his sword back out and goes, "Ole!"
Ole! And there we are, ready for our next obstacle. So, I would say it's, as we can see, it is now Luz. It's your turn. Give us a street view. Thank you. And now I will share my screen again. While this is loading. Oh, interesting place. What's the obstacle here? It looks totally fine for tuk-tuks.
Well, I think it's just I think I'm imagining heaps of children suddenly run onto the little road here in between the beach and the skate park. So the tuk-tuks have to dodge off onto the half pipe and the skate park.
I see. But who is champion and who is troubled here?
Let's see here. I think the El Matador is championed just because of he's heaps used to suddenly dodging unexpected things, Red Bulls and whatnot. And who is troubled? I think despite what the Red Ranger says about being able to win while napping, that's actually just a bluff, and he is in much need of a nap right now. He should have napped earlier, so he's napping when the children come out onto the thing and has to scramble to avoid them.
Grab the dice and see how that goes. Update your flow, and then I will pick two of you to describe how it goes. Doesn't go well for everybody, it seems. That's an easy choice. Red Ranger. Red Ranger. What's your problem?
Well, by the time my eyes snap back open, I have to turn my tuk-tuk all the way around, and it falls on its side, sort of skidding down the road before I can get it back upright.
Ouch. Christ's sword. You're doing so well.
Yeah, I had to turn very hard to miss the children. I know they were screaming my name. I couldn't. They were screaming something, but I'm sure it was my name. And I went onto the beach, and you got to see me skip my tuk-tuk across water, and I caught the wave and went all tabletop and waved at the crowd as I flew by.
Okay, flying by. This is how tuk-tuk riders are supposed to go through town. Exactly. Good, good. So we come to our last obstacle. Pat, are you telling us what we are facing before we come closer to the finishing line?
Sure.
What do we see?
So you see a park to your right, and there's some tennis courts on that park. Now, that day, they were having a llama petting zoo in those tennis courts. But the mad crowds of people that were just so enthralled by this tuk-tuk race accidentally tore down the fence, and there are llamas all on the course.
Llama attack! That must have been the killer of all.
Yes, and they were spitting everywhere. So avoid getting spit on.
Who is troubled? Who is championed?
I believe Red Ranger is championed. Llamas love rangers.
And vice versa.
And I believe Moon Thief is troubled. The llamas know that Moon Thief really did steal the moon.
They are angry. They are angry. Grab your dice and let us know how it goes. So, again, Red Ranger is doing better than expected, but still not good enough, maybe. El Corazon has a hard time being in the lead and being challenged by so many llamas. I see that could be problematic. And so we finally see. We finally will see how it all goes. So, first of all, El Corazon, this is not going well for you. What is it with you and the llamas?
El Corazon is the first there. As the llamas break free, and El Corazon realizes, what? These are not bulls! And they spit at him, and they spit at his windshield because they know. They know! And he swerves to rapidly trying to wipe the spit off of his windshield, and the others start to pass him.
That's maybe a good sign and makes it easier for the others. Does it? Moon Thief. This wasn't supposed to be good for you, but it is.
Yes, as the llamas are spitting everywhere, Moon Thief turns on his windscreen wipers to clear the spit away, and he's up against the screen trying to see where he's going, and the llamas are all shouting at him angrily. They're like, "We know you stole the moon. We know." Moon. And but rather than upsetting him, this just makes him angry. and he screams, "The moon belongs to me!" And he just plows down all of the llamas. He doesn't even try to get out of their way. He just crashes through all the llamas. The llamas are like, "No!" They're all bouncing away. And
But then you see the Llama King approaching with Killer of All riding on the llama's back, waiting for you all at the finishing line, because this is where we are now. This is the last part of the game, and the rules change again, because this is how life is, constantly changing. So, for this part, you have collected flow. Some of you have more flow, others have less flow. This is how life goes. But still, you can all win the race. We could all still make it. What do we see? We see Moon Thief and Crazed Swords head on head, like at the front, and Red Ranger far behind. And Ol Corazon somehow in the middle. As I said, you can all still win. The rules for this are the following. You make it over the finishing line first if you have the highest speed. The speed is a number. You need to decide about your speed, but keep it secret for the moment. The high speed wins. We will all reveal it at the same time. There's one problem only with it. High speed means high risk. You need to roll over or equal to your speed with 2d6 plus your flow. For example, Moon Thief can add 3 because he has 3 flow. 2d6 plus 3. So a speed of 9 you could much easier beat than if you only have 1 flow. Still, with sufficient risk, even a 1 flow Red Ranger could win this race. And a Crazed Sword could still lose and crash. If you don't match your speed or go higher, you will crash and not make it over the finishing line, and Killer of All will come for you with King Llama. So, is that so far understood? Yes? Do you feel comfortable? So you all have like a little dash at the end of your row in your character sheet. You can delete that dash or just keep it where it is. Copy the number from elsewhere. So with Control V, you can, in one hit of one key, you can copy it in there. If you want to test that, do that now. I will count 3, 2, 1, 0 when we will reveal the final number you picked. Do you all feel comfortable deciding on your speed level? Yes? Good. So I call 3, 2, 1, go! So we see 2, 9, 1, 4, and 1, 8. Crazed Sword will win if everybody else crashes. El Matador will win if Red Ranger and Moon Thief will crash. So now pick 2d6 again in our group chat and roll plus your flow to see if you make it over the finishing line. And then we go one by one through what happens to you and your tuk-tuk. All right. Since we have a draw on the highest speed, the one with the highest roll wins, if both make it over the finishing line at all. Let's see. All right. So what do we get? For El Matador. El Matador makes it over the finishing line. However, and we see that Crazed Swords makes it over the finishing line, but it's definitely not the winner. We see that Moon Thief is not making it, and we see that Red Ranger is actually winning the race because Red Ranger has the highest speed and rolled over his speed number. Is that correct? He is asleep. Yes. So what do we see? On first position, we have Red Ranger. How do you finish this race?
So after all of the mishaps, I just set myself up, get in the zone, fall asleep at the wheel, and just start cruising past everyone else, the people who are being cautious, the people who are focusing too much maybe and getting stressed about finishing the race. I don't see Killer of All. I don't see the Llama Queen. I just zoom right down to the finish line.
Wow. Now, Moon Thief, you were the second fastest. But why don't you reach the finishing line? What happened before?
So as Moon Thief approaches the finishing line, he thinks he sees the moon again out of the corner of his eye. He looks up and stares right into the sun by accident, but like he's just keep staring to make sure it's not the moon, and he stares and stares at the sun, and then he turns back around, and there's a an angry llama that he missed hitting earlier that's caught up. Maybe it's the Llama King. And they crash together in a huge collision of wool and exploding tuk-tuk parts.
Oh no. Llama meat for tonight. Or will it be a Moon Thief meat? Let's see what Killer of All says to all of this. But first, let's have a look at El Corazon, El Matador.
El Corazon reaches out and he sees Cray's sword is gaining on him. And he whips out his sword, and there is a very quick sword fight between the two tuk-tuks. And Matador appears to be losing until suddenly Cray's swords realized that it was all a diversion. And El Matador has been waving his Matador cape and has latched on and roped 4 of the llamas that suddenly give him the boost he needs across the finish line.
Whoa! One of our favorites. And the one everybody was supposing to win this race is coming into the finishing line last. Tell us, Cray's sword, what is happening to you?
So yes, I had the race in the bag. It was mine, and the crowd was cheering my name. So I leaned out the tuk-tuk and I blew them kisses to every single person that said my name. A kiss for you and a kiss for you. But I did not hold on to the steering wheel, and I ended up going backwards for a while. But I made it. I crossed.
You made it. Killer of All is coming out, looking at those who made it over the finishing line before he goes to this mess of his favorite llama with Moon Thief. Congratulations. You have killed my favorite llama, my only love in life. What do you think what I will do with you now? But at that moment, the Veils come and give it a call for this tuk-tuk race. Thank you all for playing in the worldwide tuk-tuk tournament. There we are again. Thank you for playing, and I had a lot of fun, but I have a little quest for you, a little thing I would like to ask you, which is I'm a little bit confused that I wrote such a game which is competitive, because I always say that I like role-playing games because they are not competitive, and I can get out of our competitive society for a while and this escapism and cool, and now I do a competitive game where you are out to win. So this little poem I have here is to bring us to bring this into our mind. So I will post it here. It's in English, but I ask you to read it in the language you feel most comfortable with, or which you especially like, the dialect which you especially like. You can rephrase it however you want. So I will read it to you in German. And if you opt out, that's totally okay for me as well. But maybe you want to repeat this little poem one by one before we finish the recording. Das Leben ist kein Wettrennen. Jeder Atemzug ist eine Gelegenheit, runterzufahren und langsamer zu machen. Versucht Momente der Stille und des Innehaltens zu finden. Wir alle werden es über die Ziellinie schaffen. Greg, can you go next?
Yes. Life is not a race. Every breath is an opportunity to slow down. Find moments of stillness. We will all make it to the finish line.
Andrew, can you go next?
Life is not a race. Every breath is an opportunity to slow down. Find moments of stillness. We will all make it to the finishing line.
Thank you. Pat, would you join us?
Life is not a race. Every breath is an opportunity to slow down. Find moments of stillness. We will all make it to the finishing line.
Thank you. Lou?
You all have such lovely voices. Now I'll conclude it with my friendly robot accent that I always speak in. Life is not a race. Every breath is an opportunity to slow down. Find moments of stillness. We will all make it to the finishing line.
Thank you all again. I stopped the broadcasting.